Welcome to the patio. Today we're going to bring to you our view from the patio as to the impacts of 9/11. We're going to tell you a little bit about our stories, about where we were as a tribute to the events that occurred on that day 21 years ago. You guys remember where you were at on 9/11?
Yeah, I do. 21 years ago, really.
21 years ago. It's hard to believe.
Man, I had hair. I could see my toes. It was 21 years ago was a lot different.
Your hair has migrated to your face, Jamie.
Migrated to my face, and my belly just migrated down.
That's gravity.
Is gravity moves your hair?
Yeah, no, your
No, it
belly.
moved my belly.
It moves the belly.
I think it was a table that moved my belly.
Call your belly's a tool shed.
Where I was 9/11. So, for those that don't know, I used to residential heat and air for a company out of Jonesboro, Arkansas, and we were working in. And I'm gonna giggle a little bit because part of the story is a little funny. We were working in Weiner, Arkansas.
Real place.
Real place. It is a real place.
There's also a road that's Wiener Cutoff.
There is a road in Harrisburg called Weiner Cutoff.
Wiener Cutoff. Sounds treacherous.
Guy told me, he said, I cannot keep road signs there for nothing. So
Everybody steals them.
actually, even better, Weiner Cutoff intersects with Highway 69.
So if you would like to order
True story.
a Wiener Cutoff road sign, we will steal you one.
Yes.
Sounds
For
like
a
an
fee.
intersection of greatness.
So
We need to take a snippet from Google Maps and put it on a TikTok or something.
The Wiener Cutoff.
I
real
am working in I'm an addict in Weiner, Arkansas, and I don't know what time it is. I'm in there working. Well, my boss calls me, Carter. I'll just leave it at that. Carter calls me and says, so I hear the Weiner train station is on fire.
So he called you. Your phone. What kind of phone did you have back
Well,
then?
I had a Nokia brick or whatever. I mean, it wasn't. I mean,
So phone service probably wasn't very good. You had a phone.
I was in
call.
Weiner, Arkansas.
You was
First
in
of all, those
the
that
middle of
don't.
Weiner.
Weiner's small. Those that don't know, Weiner's
That's what she said.
Weiner's what is Weiner? Probably 200 people, maybe.
We can Google it.
Yeah, we can Google it, but it's not a big Weiner. So I'm an addict. Carter calls and the Weiner train station's on fire, and I said, "Man, they don't have a train station. What the hell are you talking about?" He said, "No, the World Trade Center's on fire."
The Wiener train.
That
Well,
doesn't
did you
sound
know where the
anything like
World
that.
Trade Center was?
Well, yeah. I mean,
At first, talk.
well, my first thought was Weiner train station.
Yeah.
All right, so I
What's-
got you.
Yeah.
So now this is 2020.
Yeah,
But
that's
in
close
2020, the city of Wiener, Arkansas had 823 people.
enough. Okay, so
I was
it's four
off. I was
times
off.
as many.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So Carter called, said, "World Trade Center's on fire." I was like, "Okay, whatever." I didn't think a whole lot about it. Well, he called back. I don't know what, 15 minutes later, and said, "The other building's on fire, and a plane is hit it." And at this point, I'm up at attic by myself. I think probably most of society has realized there's an issue happening. So I'm in a customer's home. I go downstairs, and I proceed to sit on their couch and watch TV. And I turn the TV on, and of course, this is pre-direct TV. This is just, it wasn't rabbit ears. Everybody had cable. This
Are
is
they
straight cable.
are they home?
Well, I'm getting there. Just-
Oh, okay.
You hold your horses there, Slick.
Hold
so
your
hold on.
horse.
So you were doing residential heating in there,
Yes.
and you were at a customer's home in the attic when
Mm-hmm.
your boss Carter called,
Yep.
and you've decided to come down and turn on the television.
Yes.
to see what's
This
going
is historical event happening in my mind. I don't know what's happening yet, so I turn TV on, and I'm sitting there watching TV, and the phone, of course, is a house phone. House phone just is ringing nonstop.
on. Did you answer the house phone?
I thought about it.
Okay.
Because it is nonstop, and I know what the call is about, because I do know there's a lady asleep in her bedroom, and the call is just nonstop. I watch TV, ring, ring, ring. I'm watching TV, ring, ring, ring. Finally, I hear her answer the phone, and she leaves her bedroom, walks in the living room in her house coat, looks at me. I'm sitting on the couch, And she's just looking at me like, what are you doing on my couch? And I just pointed at the TV. And she turned around, looks at the TV. And at this time, the phone rings again. She answers it. And I assume it's her husband relaying what's going on to her. So she kind of absorbs information. And this, I don't know, I was 20. She's probably early 30s. She comes in her nightgown, sits right down next to me, and we sit here and watch two towers fall together. And looking back, is one of the most surreal moments of my life. Not just that we watched this and it occurred in front of us, but that two strangers were so awestruck that we sit here and watch this together with her in a nightgown, me in work attire, and that's how I spent my 9/11. Me and her sit there and watch this for hours on end.
And you just sit there on this lady's couch with her.
Look, I'm a terrible human, but it's just in my heart. Was she hot?
I'll be quite honest, I can't remember.
Okay, it was pretty. That's a pretty big.
No, I know
right?
that. I was actually trying to remember if she was hot myself.
I'm not going to be true to myself if I don't ask you.
I was trying to remember, and I honestly cannot remember.
Okay.
We watched the towers fall together, and everybody knows what happened after that. I remember for days on end, Big T would come to my house. I had that house on 5th Street in Earl. He'd come to my house, and me and him would sit there and watch videos of people jumping out of the towers.
Oh, it's surreal.
Yeah, I mean, just the unending footage and how it impacted us. I'll tell you something that a lot of y'all don't know. This kind of speaks poorly of me. So, after 9/11, immediately after it, I went and signed up for the National Guard.
I had no idea.
I didn't know you did that, Jamie.
So let's keep things in perspective. We are on the brink of war with somebody we do not know. We are under attack. We've had 3,500 civilians have been massacred. You know what the National Guard told me? I was too fat.
That's rough, boy.
Oh, it was a kick in the balls.
Well, maybe that's why we didn't know that occurred.
He kept it to himself.
He kept it to himself.
He was embarrassed.
It's like, hey,
I'm thinking,
World War
really?
III may happen,
Yeah,
but you're not
World War
qualified.
III, and I'm not quite good enough.
You're not qualified.
So
Too fat.
So that's my where I was on 9/11. It's
Hey, kudos to you
for what?
for going and trying. Right?
Okay.
Kudos to you.
I tried to go fight.
I appreciate
I find
your
that
effort.
it's
Jamie.
kind of wild that I don't know that.
It really is.
It really is, yeah.
It's just one of those things that you go through your life, and sometimes stuff happens. You don't. I mean,
So, but it still was patriotic. Like most of America, they felt a patriotic, at least a desire to be patriotic.
I was angry. I was young, but I was angry.
That was a shitty time in our existence. There was a lot of patriotism at that time.
There was.
Well, a good thing that came out of that was most people at that time were really accepting of other people of other races and other nationalities, right?
Unfortunately,
there was a lot of commonality if you were just simply an American.
Unfortunately, we went south with the feelings towards Muslims, and I understand it was unfair, but yes, for the most part, we really made strides at that moment. Now, it didn't last, but
no, it didn't last, but there for a minute. White, black, Asian, this, that, other. Even some Muslims here were all patriotic.
Yeah, we were all
and
Americans.
on board, right? You're American,
which is what
right?
we should be anyway.
Yeah. So, America is a honest melting pot of people. There are a lot of people that don't have the same beliefs, religions, look the same as you, but a lot of people really care about America.
Well, and there's different things that bring us together. Right. At this point, all Americans had one thing that brought everyone together, and it was the falling of the towers and the fact that so many people died on U.S. soil. It was quite a different. It was something. I guess it was our Pearl Harbor, is what you can call it.
Well, I remember my mother telling me the day she died, she could tell exactly where she was when Kennedy was assassinated.
And that's, I think, for our parents.
You got Kennedy, you got MLK. I mean, there's a tragic events. Hopefully, that's the only one we have to deal with.
Gary, do you recall where you were on 9/11?
Yes, I do, T. Yes, it was very impactful. I still remember exactly where I was at when I found out. I was Me being the baby of the patio here, I'm the youngest.
You ain't
Are
that
you
much.
really the baby?
I am the
He is
baby.
the baby.
I am the baby.
Look at
But
that
you
baby.
look
Look at that
old.
baby face.
I do feel old. If I shave, T, I look like a baby again.
His skin's soft too.
Skin soft, smooth,
Soft, smooth skin.
You gotta use that lotion
Hands are soft like
on the
a
skin.
lady's.
So, I was 17 at the time. So I was a senior in high school, and I remember being told about it. I was in second period, physics class.
Did they roll in a TV on a cart?
They did not. They didn't. I wish the AV people would have came in, hooked us all up, and we could have watched something. But no, just heard rumors. People coming in and out of the classroom physics class, and then the period changed, and we just went on to the next class like normal. And we got to chemistry class. My favorite teacher was my chemistry teacher. He's super cool. His daughters worked for NASA, and he was
Wow.
really cool.
Hey, go ahead, Jamie.
Was he hot?
No, he
There
was
you go.
not hot, but he had a bunch. He had his daughters work for NASA.
Yeah.
They may have been hot. I don't.
I
know.
would also say this. It's probably pretty scary, like being in school when this happened.
Oh, it was. Oh, trust me, it was. Because we always had bomb threats anyhow. So, yeah, if we had a big test that day, somebody was putting in a bomb threat.
That actually was very true about
That
about
is
the
true.
school we went to. Yes.
Yes, the school we went to, there was a bomb threat every
You got
month.
an exam
Once a month,
bomb threat.
bomb threat.
You
Don't
know,
know
finals, bomb threat.
Don't know who this person was, but they weren't studying. There was never a bomb, just threats, and no test that day. But yeah, I was in chemistry class. When I got there, the teacher let us listen to the radio. They still had radios back then, and sort of listen the news, get some hot takes on it, and then bell rang and said, "All right, everybody go home."
So y'all dismissed school?
We dismissed school. So we left, and I do remember leaving, and I just saw a bunch of cars at the gas station, and that freaked me out. I was like, what the heck is going on? I do understand that, the two towers, are being, hit by airplanes and whatnot, but I don't understand why everybody's going to the gas station. Because at that time, when I was 17, I didn't understand things like this affected gas like they do. So
So did you go home and
I went.
watch?
Yeah, I went home.
Well, you were a kid too. Did you go home and watch? Or did you go
I went home
and
and watched.
Or did you go home and take a nap?
I did not take a nap. I watched all on the news.
I mean, can you imagine today them blasting that kind of stuff on news?
No, it'd be social media primarily.
It'd be censored too. I mean,
But would it?
I don't think that would.
I don't know how you can.
it shouldn't be, but I
don't
don't
think
think
it would.
now you have people get canceled off of TikTok for. I had a TikTok canceled because they had a dead duck on it.
You had a TikTok cancel because you asked me to make you a sandwich.
I've had several TikToks canceled.
And that one dude commented on my feet.
I think it's because you spanked his chest.
So were you guys out of school the remainder of that week? That was on a Tuesday.
No, we were
Was it
not.
Tuesday? I was
It was
wondering
a
what day it
Tuesday.
was.
No, we went to school the next day. When we got to school the next day, about 9:00, bomb threat. We all went home. Very next day. True
Just
story.
like clockwork.
Just like clockwork, it happened.
yeah.
But the biggest thing that scared me, I was angry. I didn't go National Guard because I was still 17.
You was in shape.
You were in shape.
I was
You
in
would've
shape
made
back then. I
And
would have made
You're
it.
smart too. You could have went I don't know, Air Force or something.
Could have done something cool.
It'd have been a nuke in the Navy.
May have been a nuke. I don't know. But the biggest thing I was scared of, everybody was talking about the next place target was the Memphis bridges.
Yep, I recall.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys recall
they
that?
They shut down the.
Well, the Memphis Bridge has become, even over the years, because we talk about internet not being prevalent and all that. So even now, it's more of a bigger target point, right?
Oh yeah.
I had a buddy.
Do you know why though?
He's a Vietnam vet and a pretty good friend of mine. During I don't know, a couple of weeks past 9/11, he did contract work pretty much. So his job was every hour he had to start on the Memphis side, and he would walk the railroad track. And he'd walk all the way across, meet a guy from the Arkansas side in the middle. They would.
Well, the Memphis Bridge though is one of the most heavily traveled freight
Yeah.
bridges.
I mean,
in the country.
you
But
were
also on top of that, one of the main fiber optic cables runs through there also, so it connects the a lot of the country through those major
country's
cable
connected
lines,
across.
right?
I used to work with a submariner who did military games with nukes, and Houston, Chicago, Memphis, New York. San Diego was one of them, but there's about 7 strike points, and the bulk of them are taking out populations. But you take Houston, Chicago, and New York, or in Memphis, you take away the oil refineries, and then Memphis and Chicago break the country apart.
Well, you take away the major freight transfers across the country, and that includes rail and
Yeah,
truck and even barge, for that matter. If enough bridges were taken out, you couldn't move from
So
the
look
coast
at-
to north or north to the coast.
Look at just the chaos that was caused when they had the broken beam on
The cracked
one of
bridge.
the
Yeah.
Memphis bridges. So there are 4 bridges to cross, right? There's one in West Helena, one in Dyersburg, 2 in Memphis, right? So just one of those bridges being shut down. Look at the traffic issue it caused and
Yeah.
the chaos it caused. Imagine both of those bridges being non-existent,
and,
right?
you know, and that's what we forget is it wasn't just the fear of 9/11; it was the fear of what's about to happen.
Yeah, it's fear of the unknown. What else could happen? But 21 years ago, I was actually working for the same company I'm working today, but I was much younger and fresh out of school, and we had a morning meeting each morning at 8:30.
You was a little more of a G probably back then
Yeah.
too. I remember.
Yeah, I was.
You still had that
rolling.
Denali back then, didn't you?
Yeah, he had that
See,
Denali.
Yeah, I had the Denali.
He was
Yeah,
probably
it was-
rolling on about 20s, which was huge.
He had like
for the
26s
time.
or something. They didn't make them.
22.
There's whole other stories on
22.
it.
They weren't spinners
TV.
though.
No, they were not spinners.
TVs in the headrest.
He had TVs in the headrest.
Parked
so
at the
did.
Mad Butcher.
The Mad Butcher. Was it Super Value or Mad Butcher?
Oh, no.
It was Mad Butcher back then, I think.
It
It was Super Value
So
a
we
long
were-
time ago.
So we were there every day, but still at this morning, right, 8:30, we had a morning meeting, and some guy walks in and goes, "Look, a plane just flew into the World Trade Center," and I'm an analytical guy, and I'm thinking, man, that's a big daggum mistake if the air traffic controller allowed a plane to fly into the World Trade Center. So he left the room. He come back about 15, 20 minutes later. And he confirmed that the second tower had been struck by a second plane. At that point, I think that's when at least we all knew. And I remember then we huddled around a television for the rest of the day because we had internet, but the internet news wasn't prevalent at that point, right? We sat there and watched TV from actually a couple of rabbit ears. And, all throughout the day, we were trying to go on about our normal lives. And then, of course, gas prices started increasing. Like, there was price gouging like crazy. I was living probably about 50 miles from the plant.
I forgot about the price gouge.
Oh, yeah. And I remember, I filled up that afternoon. That morning, gas was probably $1 a gallon. By that afternoon, it was almost $4 a gallon. And the one thing that'll always stand out is the sun setting late on 9/11. The sky was absolutely pristine. There was not a cloud in the sky, just blue sky. And all planes had been grounded. So there was huge problems with travel throughout the country because no one knew what else was planned or could possibly be planned. Because not only did it hit the towers, but they had taken a plane and flown it into the Pentagon, and then the one crash there in Pennsylvania. But there was one plane I'll never forget, just off to the west, just flew across the sky. And there was nothing but one trail. And I remember thinking that had to be a fighter because that was the only thing allowed to fly at that time. And then getting home and thinking, okay, I wasn't married or anything at the time. Matter of fact, I hadn't even really met my wife at that point. But going home and the people that were around you and thinking how grateful and thankful you were to still have them and that you weren't directly involved with what went on. I know a lot of people from around this region actually went to New York City to help in the recovery efforts.
Yeah, I believe Memphis sent.
Yeah,
rescue
Crittenden
teams.
County right here did.
They did. That's
Yeah,
right.
a couple people from Crittenden County I know for certain.
I wasn't in law enforcement at the time, but I'd have been 100% on board.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd
at the
went.
most part, we were kids then.
Oh yeah, I was 18.
And I mean, even T being
Old man.
Yeah, 26.
T
he was a
fought.
kid.
T fought in the Civil War.
The Civil War. I think we got one of those coming. But
You know, I'll talk about the chemtrails and the planes. So me and Carter were rounding. We were coming out of across Crawley's Ridge, back from Poinsett, old Poinsett Speedway. Can't remember what back towards Mark Tree, and I see a crop duster in the sky, which immediately struck me as odd. This is day one.
Yeah.
And it was wild. I see this crop duster that immediately struck me as there's nothing else in the sky except this crop duster. And within seconds, it feels like there's a jet on top of it.
Wow.
I guess that was a moment where I realized we are living in a different era. Now, this crop duster, I'm sure he shit his pants.
No, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, because
He dropped all of his dust.
I'm not sure a jet can go slow enough.
Oh, no.
So, but I saw this guy immediately land because there's an airstrip right there between Poinsett and Mark Tree. So I mean, it was the whole day was surreal. Everything about it.
All right, so here's where I was.
Where were you?
So I was
were you still in school? You was out.
I was
No,
18.
he
I
graduated.
graduated at 17. Didn't quite want to go to college yet, right? I was a terrible college student starting out. I went to college for a lot of years, but didn't
went to-
really go to classes.
You went to a bunch of different colleges too.
I did. Is there a
So what,
problem with that?
what college were you? Is that when you was in Williams Baptist?
Yeah.
Which one was your favorite?
No, I wasn't in any college at the time.
Okay.
Well, I got a degree at like 28, finally, online.
Were you Phoenix?
No,
What-
Arkansas State, man.
Oh, you got Arkansas State on them.
Yeah.
Man. That's cool.
How, yes.
How? Yes.
But,
How
anyhow,
beat on.
so I was working for our family concrete company, and we were waiting on concrete early that morning, 8:30, 9 o'clock. And a bunch of Hispanic guys were working with me, and we're sitting, I'm napping on a pile of, like, wood or something. And these guys go, hey, they hit your buildings. I was like, yeah, I thought they were talking about, like, Pearl Harbor. I didn't know what they were talking about. I was like, yeah, there's a little bit of a language barrier there. And they're like, then they're explaining to me, there's one guy that speaks good English named Daniel. And he's like, no, like, they hit your buildings. So at this point, I'm like, I go to the truck. I'm like, what's going on, Dad? And Dad's like, they flew 2 planes in the World Trade Center. I was like, all right, so, and it shut, so it shut down pouring concrete that day.
That's a bold statement.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the concrete companies basically called and said, hey, the concrete you had ordered this morning, it's not coming. We're closing for the day. And me and my dad got in the truck, and we drove home all the way. Probably didn't say a word, which isn't odd with my dad. If you know my dad, like, he's a super good dude, best dude you'll ever meet. But unless he's got something to say, like, he just ain't got nothing to say, right? So love the man, though. He's a good man.
Good dude.
100%.
Good guy.
Probably the best man. He's a man's man.
He's a
for
man's
sure.
man.
Yeah.
Although
100%.
I've never seen him and Hulk Hogan in the same room together.
I'm pretty sure they're the same person. Right? Yeah. Never seen my dad and Hulk Hogan in the same room together, but they're probably the same person. But didn't say a word on the way home.
That's
Yeah.
I got some good stories with your dad too.
Oh yeah.
That's for another time.
That's for another time.
That's for another time.
We'll embarrass you later.
So Jamie lived with us for probably 5 years at least.
It probably felt like
6.
more than that to your dad because
Yeah,
he was.
I think my dad kicked him out 3 times and offered him food and invited him back in.
One time he kicked me out. I know we're getting off topic here. One time he kicked me out, and he walked up and he said, "Baby," he called everybody baby. He said, "Baby, it's time for you to move out." I was like, "All right, Terry, I appreciate you letting me stay." He said, slapped me on the back. He said, "Diane done made all kinds of. She got some fried cabbage in there, some beans. Come on and eat."
My mama cooked that country food.
Yeah, look, his feed give me the lead. And I was back like 2 months later.
You sure it took
look,
2 months?
Jamie came
Probably
back.
not.
No, Jamie came back like 2 weeks later. Me and my dad were actually talking about this not long ago. He said,
I think I was there.
he said, "Oh, Fortenberry, he came back for 2 weeks." And he said, "Mr. Terry, I'm only staying for the weekend." He said he was there for another year and a half.
Look, I finally moved out when I met my wife.
Finally.
I think he might have brought her, introduced me, so just I'd leave.
Man,
He was hoping. He was hoping.
He may have paid her. I don't know.
So 9/11 was a pretty traumatic event for everyone across the country. It was each in our own ways. We had our own little events. Especially being young, we hadn't lived through anything really traumatic like that. But there's a lot of things today that are direct result of what occurred in 9/11. I mean, you could simply say, I don't know if you guys recall or not, but there was a time you could go to an airport and go directly to the gate and just sit there and wait for someone to get off the plane.
Correct.
Yeah, that's why I didn't fly, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean you can't do that anymore.
Oh,
I mean
you
all
can't
the
get
checks
past.
and
No,
all.
the security is far greater.
You could
can't-
walk all
I wouldn't
the way
say
to the gate.
greater. It's just more
All right,
restricted.
more
you used to come
restricted.
in, get your ticket, drop your bag off, and walk to your gate.
Yep.
I mean, it was that simple.
Yep.
You had people waiting for you outside the gate that weren't on a
Yeah,
plane,
they
didn't
weren't
have
on
a
a plane.
ticket, didn't check your ID.
Well, restaurants and things like that, bars and airports, you could actually just go.
I do remember
Just
going
go.
and leaving, taking people to the airport and going out there, watch the plane leave when they fly off.
Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah,
talking
that's a-
about.
I think you could
That's
still
what I'm
smoke
talking
cigarettes on a plane back then.
Probably good.
I don't know. You can do a lot of things.
No, I don't
I'll
know.
have to look that up.
That,
Look,
I don't know.
I'm not sure about that.
So when
You know,
But that changed at one point in time.
when I flew out of South Africa back to Memphis here recently, you went through your normal checkpoint stuff, right? So you get to the airport, you check your bag, you go through, they may check your carry-on, whatever. You're in a different country, right? It's not America. Well, you go to board the plane. So, normally they call your first class, this, that, main gate 1, 2, 3, silver, gold, whatever. So they're calling this every single person as you got called through, they checked your carry-on. As in they pulled everything out of your carry-on and checked everything in it.
Every person?
Every single person that got on a plane, they checked your carry-on. It's a 17-hour flight, right? So, I mean, if you're going to hijack a plane, right, you got a plane with 17 hours worth of fuel. You can go about anywhere you want to go,
yeah,
right?
that's the one you want.
Yeah, I mean, you can fly just about anywhere you want to go from that point in South Africa. So, like, a lot of people were mad. They even went as far as bottled water. Normally you can purchase something once you go through security. People purchase bottles of water and drinks, to get on the plane with them. They made them pour them out.
Now, that would have pissed me off, too. Those things are expensive.
Yeah, there were people big mad, man. We're flying back to America, so there are a bunch of those.
Bunch of Karens.
I wasn't gonna say it. But there were a bunch of ladies that was pretty upset about their water. They tried to get me riled up, man. I said, "Look,
I would have drank it right in front of
Yeah, I'd ready to get home, yeah.
yeah." I said,
I'd grab their shirt and just drank my water.
"Yeah." I said, "I
So
got
it's
a wife
gone
and
now.
kids at home. I don't really care right now. I just want to go home. You can dig all through my bag."
Talk about planes and all that. I think one of the biggest things that's affected us since 9/11 is the Patriot Act.
Our civil
well-
liberties.
Yeah, well, we've allowed the government to spy on us, and we did it willingly.
We did.
Hell, we did it with a smile.
We sure did. We were doing anything.
Yeah, but no one seemed to mind at the time.
because
Well, I mean, we thought we was under attack.
And we were.
Well, you got a lot of. There's
yes.
tons of conspiracy theories floating
Yes,
around.
yes.
Right?
There's
I think for America to actually have
Right.
set it all up by themselves is kind of a wild thought.
Well, I tell you what, we can't balance a budget by ourselves, so I thought we did that by ourselves.
I do there are some things about it I question.
Yeah, I think a lot of people question stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
just without getting too into the weeds, the heroics of the plane shot. Or,
I
I'm sorry, I
question
said
that
that out
one.
loud. The heroics of the plane that
I
crashed.
question that one.
Yeah, I do too. That's
So I truly believe that plane was shot down.
why would
Now,
you not?
now
Why-
I do think that maybe those phone calls are true, right?
Yeah,
Maybe those people.
But if
are-
you're
they're
the government, why would you not shoot it?
so I don't want to take anything from.
No, you don't. Yeah, I
Look,
know.
we have enough technology now. If you want to produce voices, you can, right?
Yes.
But it's possible that they knew that plane was hijacked. Those people were fighting for that airplane, and it was shot out of the sky. I do think that's
that does highly likely.
plausible, right?
Yes.
Now, does that take away from those people being heroic if they were actually attacking the cockpit of that plane? No.
No, because
Like-
I do feel like that's what most people would do at that point. When
No,
you
like
start-
you got balls like you're toting in a wheelbarrow. If you're like, hey, screw these guys, and we're gonna
Well,
do whatever we got to
but
do,
no,
right?
You're forgetting about something.
If you
because
accepted your
in
fate.
2001,
Yeah, things on airplanes were different. In
they were way
2001.
different. They
Yeah.
were told
you could
not
make phone
to,
calls.
and you were not. You were told not. If someone hijacked a plane, you cooperated because no one had been used a plane in this.
Well, it was all about money. They landed the plane.
Yep,
They
and give
got
them
to an
money.
airport. They
And there were
demanded
plenty
money,
of
right?
examples where hijackings just resulted in like a ransom. Or
But
something like
at that time, you had the ability for loved ones to make phone calls, say they're crashing planes in
Yes.
buildings.
Yep.
Yes.
And then once they knew that, they were like, hey, screw these guys, let's go. So, but most of the time, T's right. They landed at an airport and it either ended in a payment of some sort and the people leaving, depending on where you are, or a tubular assault by a special missions type team and they go kill the guys, right? One or the other.
What is one thing that you wish today people, maybe, and it's young people, of course, because they weren't around back then, but what's one thing you wish people would take from that event that maybe they could think about today, Gary?
That was a hard
The
question.
serious look on his face just tickled me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right, Fortenberry, what you got?
don't know.
What's one thing you wish people today could, and not have to live through such a thing, but could take from that event in our lives?
I wish we could go back to the, what's the word I want to use, the unity we had as a country. That I will never experience that again in my lifetime.
Yeah, there was a sense of unity that we haven't seen before or since.
You know, there's and everybody sitting around this table, and probably most people listening remember this vivid video. There was a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, but there was a black gentleman in a business suit, covered in ash.
Yep.
He's ghost white, and at that, it's weird to say this, but that particular he represented everybody. There was his color was not represented. He was a citizen of the United States who had been under attack, who was in complete shock of what had just happened.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that his race was covered up with soot just even speak more volumes about how it wasn't at one moment we weren't a race.
Everybody in that impact zone was the same damn color.
Yep.
They were soot.
That's it.
Right.
Yep.
That's
didn't
it.
matter.
And there was hundreds of different ethnicities.
Yeah, and they were all the same
religions.
damn color, covered in soot.
Every one of them was covered in the exact same shit.
100%.
And I think that's at the end of the day, that might be the best thing we take from this is sometimes we're all covered in the same shit, and we just got to learn to come together. Come together.
Yeah, man, when we start treating people like people based on personality or based on character and not what they look like.
Yeah,
right?
not what they look
Just
like. What
based
they're-
on their humanity. That's I think you hit a good point there. It was all people were the same. We were all impacted the same. It didn't matter who you were in that blast zone or that attack zone.
across the country.
At that
It was
point, I
across
mean,
country.
honestly, you were an American, right?
Yep.
So I mean, it's what mattered to you that day.
There was definitely a sense of patriotism we haven't seen probably since that time frame at all. All right. Any parting thoughts from anyone as we close out this discussion here or reflection?
Yeah, I got one. I wish we could go back to just that brief moment where everybody had shit on them, but we all felt the same way.
I thought you were gonna say beer cans with the pull tabs, like the.
Those are awesome too.
But you know what that opened up? Now I'm ready to answer my question now. But
Oh, he feels
I'm ready
All
now.
right, Scoff. All right,
But it's
Gary.
sort of
feels
it-
empowered.
I feel empowered. Jamie's got me going.
Heck
All
yeah,
right, Gary.
let's
So,
go.
Gary, what do you take? What
It goes back to what Jamie was just saying, but we're gonna take a little bit further. It's about kindness.
It is.
It's about kindness, and I think our country and the world is lacking kindness.
Dude, we weren't left or right then.
No, we weren't. We're lacking that. We should love our neighbor. At that time, we were also living positively because we all knew because of that instance. We didn't know when our last minute, second was.
We should know that day.
We were
don't.
standing for our man because our fellow man was standing with us, and we've lost that because we understood at that time that there are people out there, regardless of what you do or who you are, there's people out there that hate you, and and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
To expand on.
So, not that I'm like a world traveler, but I have been to Muslim countries.
You've been to South Africa.
I've been to Muslim countries.
You've out traveled to me.
I've been to multiple different places, lots of countries, and I can't speak for it before 9/11, but when you are in those countries, there's a hate, just a general hate in certain countries for you being an American, right? I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like
no, it's racism.
Like you just know it, right? So
it's
it is,
hatred.
but
it's a hatred.
But
it's
so honestly, I have been places where I knew that simply I reek of American, right? So like I can't hide it. I look like a damn American. Okay, I got an American flag tattooed on my
I was about to say, is that
arm.
because of your tattoo, Jay?
No, I mean I reek of it. Okay, the way I dress, everything about me reeks American. And people, even in friendly countries, quotation marks, they still look at you with a certain sense of hatred, and it kind of helps you understand what that feels like. I don't know if y'all have experienced that, but I have, and you do kind of feel it. Right?
I'll tell you what, I do feel this way. Like, y'all know who Theo Von is?
Yeah,
I'm a great comedian. Yeah, and I think he had nailed on the head. Like, we all grew up in predominantly black communities where we were the minorities, but we all grew up broke.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, I grew up in a farming community. The great line that Theo said was, I wouldn't have done this to you to move right next door. You know, we were all poor. And I didn't know I was poor until I moved out. But, I mean, I grew up with some tremendous people that, I still look up to. I mean, there's friends that I had in high school and in elementary school that we've moved on to our own lives. There's a guy that he's a drill sergeant in the Marines. I mean, he's in California somewhere, just living the best life he can from the same community I came from. Yep. So, I mean, we got way off topic.
Okay.
It don't matter.
But, I mean, there's poor communities, black communities, white communities. It's all the same if we all can come together.
Yeah, because what occurred on that day was about hatred for Americans. It didn't matter if you was rich American.
No.
If you was white American.
Well, it didn't matter if you're a black American, Asian American, white American,
or
even
a
Muslim.
A poor white dude from Crittenden County, Arkansas.
It didn't matter. They wanted to kill you if you were American, if you were an infidel.
I was probably bouncing checks all over Earl when that tower went down.
And it was a declaration of war. And, Jamie, thank you for going to sign up, even though you're too fat to get in.
If it's any consolation, I was in the Boy Scouts.
You were?
I was a Boy Scout.
He was.
I served my community.
I didn't know that about you, Jamie.
At least you didn't wait till like you were 30 to sign up for the military. Like me.
I tried, man.
Go through one of the toughest programs the military has to offer.
They still let Donnie in being super old like that, but they won't let you in because you're super old. Because your weight issue.
Jamie was really chubby. I was still in really good shape.
Look, I'm still stuck because at the time I was like 6 foot, probably 220.
You 5'11" now?
Yeah.
Quit lying.
Jamie,
well, my back going out like it is. I'm probably 5'8".
You was 6 foot when you had hair.
I don't feel like I know you anymore, Jamie. If I just found that story,
you know what? I feel like this was. I feel better talking about 9/11 already. It's just getting stuff off your chest. I know it's been 21 years, but it still feels good talking about.
Look, 9/11 will be something that we all hold dear to our chest, and I just hope we can share with our youth, including my son and you guys' kids, as to what that meant to us and what they were exposed to, and that they don't forget it. But I think it's time to close this out. You got something else?
Yeah, I got one more thing. First of all,
damn it,
DW. Well, this is gonna be quick. DW's gonna have a birthday. What?
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's coming up.
Yeah, because this will release Sunday, so your birthday will be tomorrow. And I also have a good friend. Big Steve's birthday is actually on 9/11.
Oh, really?
I think his mother's is too.
There you go.
So can you imagine
They got
waking
the
up?
same birthday as your
Could
mama.
you imagine waking up and be like, I'm gonna have a hell of a birthday 20 years ago, and then some asshole from Afghanistan just ruins your whole birthday?
Dude.
All right, I got something to admit real fast.
You got
Today's my
something
brother's
to-
birthday, and I forgot to send him happy birthday. Thanks for reminding me.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So Big Steve, Logan, happy birthday, Donnie.
Big
Happy birthday
Steve.
tomorrow, brother.
Apparently,
Birthday,
9 months before this
Johnny.
date, there was a lot of procreation happening.
Apparently 9 months before 9/11, there was a
What's the date?
huge.
Well, thank you guys for joining us, listening to our stories about 9/11. And if there's one thing, I hope it lets you think about where you were during 9/11 and the impact it had on your life.
Hey, we
Go to
love
our-
y'all. Y'all come together now.
Go to our Facebook. Tell us where you were on 9/11.
Yeah, go to our Facebook. You can go to our website, livefromthepatio.com.
TikTok. Do a video. Tell us where you were.
We're now live on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else that you may listen to podcasts.
Smoke signals. Whatever you
Shout
got.
out Monterey Project.
Carrier pigeons.